Imagine how it feels to go through a very fast translation just to communicate in a second language. Arabella Bengson still does. Yet she won the World Championship of Public Speaking, the only Canadian woman to have done so. A manager with Bell Canada for 13 years, Arabella trained Bell trainers. She has a master's degree in psychology and communication, graduated with a BA magna cum laude, and taught at the University of Hawaii. The first woman president of Ontario Speakers Association, Arabella speaks and trains internationally and directs a speakers bureau. Arabella changes the mind, touches the heart, tickles the funny bone by her life example and the latest strategies in neuro-linguistic programming. Let's meet Arabella Bengson.
Where they have the corrugated cardboard way of paving, there is a sign that says, "Choose your rut carefully. You'll be in it for the next 200 miles." But the ruts out in the road are not as bad as the ruts in our heads, where when we get into a groove, we can't move. Stephen Covey believes that we are able to design our destiny. And how? What do we do? How do we do that? He says, begin with the end in mind. Do you know what your end will be? One of the ways you can do to make sure that you live a full, rewarding life is to ensure that you have goals that will propel you to action. One of the things to do that is to put a pleasure map. And in this pleasure map, which is a very individualistic one, this particular person, a 61-year-old man, wanted to know where I want to go. You see, I started goals and pleasure maps when I was 12, but I was an oddball. Most people don't think about these things at 12 or 13. They are, up to this time, not really knowing where to go. But he left school when he was 14, so he wanted to get a BA. He wanted to be a happy person, because a pleasure map should not be just accomplishments. It should be what you want to become, what you want to be. So he'd like to travel and earn about $100,000 a year so he could go to exotic places. And more than anything, he wants to be able to march to a different drummer. And proof of that is that he wants a lighthouse for a dream house. Isn't that different? Now, how many of you feel like this cartoon some days? Some mornings, just getting up is my biggest success. Anybody feel that way? Right. And a lot of that is because we have not managed our moods enough. And most of the time we feel that way because of frustration. So the most important thing that we have to do in managing ourselves is how to handle frustration. And Anthony Robbins says, the way to handle frustration is by turning it into fascination. And I thought, so if a door slams in your face, say, how fascinating. I wonder what new doors will open now that this one has closed. For life is a corridor filled with doors for us to open. Do not deprive yourself of the adventure, the joy, the excitement of opening those doors. One of the other things that we have to worry about is procrastination. How many of you, at least once in your life, have ever procrastinated? Yes. By the fact that we are human, we procrastinate. And we procrastinate so creatively, don't we? All of the things that never used to get cleaned up when we have a project that's important to do. How do we manage that? I'm going to ask you to say this with me, complete the sentence. If anything worth doing is? And I say no. Try this. Anything worth doing is worth doing badly at first. Did you not fall down the first time you tried to walk? The first time you cooked, was it the greatest? The first time you made love, was that the best? Yeah. Oh, school, heaven help Fraser's partner, it has been going downhill from then. So give yourself the permission to do something, a goal, not perfectly the first time. Because to be able to do that, it is more important that we do have a goal that puts a fire in our belly and the passion surging through our veins. The reason we don't create goals is that it doesn't motivate us enough. But if we put in ourselves visions that empower, that becomes vivid, that becomes truly magnificent for us, then we will go to that star that is just beyond our reach. And when we get that, we go for the next one and the next one. My last strategy to give you in your vision and destiny is that of visualization. Oh, it is so important to visualize, because whatever you can hold in your mind and feel in your heart, you can hold in your hand. When I was 12 years old, I envisioned I'm going to go to a North American university and get my MA. I'm going to teach at a university, preferably Hawaii. And by 28, I'm going to have a son and a daughter. I accomplished everything by age 22. And then I had an identity crisis. What do I do for the rest of my life? And it was then that I realized, hey, we must not stop here. We must continue revising our goals, and we must put goals in every aspect of life so that at the end of our time, we don't say, oh, I worked so hard and I got all this, but I'm not happy. My kids don't know me. My wife left me. So what we need to do is to be able to look to say, hey, what goes on next? What else can I put in all areas of our life so that there is a balance? So then I said, I'm going to go around the world when I'm 35. And I did after I left my husband. And that was also the time that I got a Merit Award for Outstanding Performance at Bell Canada. And the Merit Award was worth it, I tell you. And then I set to work on my life work. I thought that I would make a difference in my speaking and training, and I named my company Masterpiece Corporation after John Ruskin's quote, when skill and love come together, you have a masterpiece. So dream your dreams and visualize for it to be so true right now that you can taste it, feel it in your veins and hear the things that go with it. It is very important that your visualization comes with your action, because as all research in mental rehearsals say, the visualization part is so much a function of your success. There was one time though when I almost did not get it right. You were told that I went for a contest, the International World Championship of Public Speaking, and I had been working very, very hard to get to this, because you know that this is not my first language. What do you think is my first language? French. Bless your heart. Oui, oui, oui. That's the only thing I know in French, and it gets me anywhere. But yes, Filipino, and you know in my language there are many sounds that are not the same as yours. In fact, when I was in Hawaii, somebody said to me, I finally got a rise out of you. And I was really offended because I thought that had a sexual connotation. So when I work at things, my pronunciation are some of the things I work on. So when I go for that championship, I really had to work very, very hard and practice. Now, it went very well, except 2 days before the final contest, they announced the winner of the overseas competition. My God, he was a dazzling Australian. I looked at him and I drooled. If I had a trophy in my mind, I would have gladly given it for a date. And then I thought, but he's my competitor and I feel disfavorable towards him. How would the other people, the 20 judges, would feel towards him? And then I realized I was up for very stiff competition, especially after that night. We were asked to come in our favorite Hollywood costume, and guess what he came in as? I wish it were, but it wasn't. It was Superman. Imagine fighting with the invincible man. I was crestfallen. I was a basket case for 2 days. Have you ever felt you worked so hard for something, and yet all the work, all the effort, all the help were all in vain? And I thought, forget this. There's no need to compete. I won't win. And that was when my visualization worked, because my partner and mentor asked me, Arabella, what are you worried about? You have a speech that touches the heart, that tickles the funny bones, that challenges the mind. You have done your best to make the best of this presentation. And you told me yourself that the success is not in the trophy. It is in the striving to be your best. Besides, you made sure that I carry an extra empty suitcase. What was that for? And then I remembered. I envisioned the trophy in my mind. It was in my hand, was so big. I had to carry an empty suitcase to bring it home with me. And this was how I felt when I presented. And when we look at the destiny before us, I would like you to heed Eleanor Roosevelt, who said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." So, ladies and gentlemen, dream your dreams, design and achieve your destiny.